everyone. Today we're going to talk about House Joint Memorial, HJM for short, 7. I'm Emma, and if you hear like squeaking in the background or like dangling, it's just my dog. So sorry if that's interrupts at all. What is HJM 7? HJM 7 is an Oregon legislative bill that urges Congress to pass legislation recognizing that the full spectrum of reproductive health care is a fundamental right of all women. And for all women, it is including gender or transgender women and all women. Some of the current events that are related to this bill that make it so important are Roe v. Wade being overturned in 2022, allowing states to make their own decisions about women's reproductive rights. So before Roe v. Wade was overturned, it was legal in all states, but now since it was overturned in 2022, different states are allowed to make their own laws regarding abortion and access to reproductive care. So in 12 states in the United States, they have made abortion completely illegal, and many more have their different laws about access to abortion if they have access to abortion at all. And because of this, many women's reproductive clinics have been defunded, and so that takes away so many resources for women of color, low-income women, a lot of very vulnerable populations, which isn't great. So this map shows the different states that have the different bans. As you can see, there's a lot of near total bans, and there are 12 states, like I stated before, that have a near total ban, which I will state is Arizona, South Dakota, Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Indiana, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky, and West Virginia. So yeah, that's a pretty good chunk. And so there are 6 states that have a gestational limit between 6 weeks and 12 weeks, which a gestational limit is from your last menstrual period. So you have to be between 6 weeks and 12 weeks to get an abortion in 6 states. In 4 states, it is a gestational limit of 18 weeks to 22 weeks. In 19 states, there is a gestational limit at near or at viability, which means that the fetus is able to live outside of the womb by itself. And then there are 9 states, including Oregon, that do not have any gestational limit at all. So as you can see, there's a lot of different states that have a lot of different laws, and it is very difficult for the people that live in some of these states that have a near total ban or a total ban to get the reproductive health care that they should be able to get, because everyone should be able to get reproductive health care because it is a human right. So these 2 maps show, okay, so let's look at the first map, the rape and incest exceptions to state abortion bans and restrictions. So this map on the bottom left shows the different bans of rape and incest exceptions to the state abortion ban. So to the left, it says there's no exception in 15-week limit, which is 1 state. So you cannot get an abortion if you were out or more than 15 weeks, regardless of any exception. And then in 9 states, there's no exception regardless of rape, incest, anything. And those 9 states are South Dakota, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Arizona. And then when there is a rape or incest exception, there is, you can get it between the weeks of 9 to 8 weeks in 3 states, 12 to 15 weeks in 4 states, 20 to 22 weeks and also another 4 states, which we know that a lot of the people that do experience sexual assault, um, it goes unreported. And in all of these states, to get an abortion, you have to have police involvement and you have to file a police report, which can be very, very hard for the victims. Because in some cases, some of the victims might be living with their perpetrator, or it might be a family member, or, it's embarrassing, or, so many different things that go into consideration while making these police reports. And to get an abortion, you have to make a police report in these states, no exception. And even if you do make a police report in 9 states, you can't get an abortion. And then on the top right corner, we're going to talk about the criminal penalties for physicians in state abortion bans. So in this, there is not only consequences for the patient if they get an abortion in these states, but there's also consequences for the physicians that do provide an abortion for these patients. So in Texas, and I believe that's Alabama. I'm so sorry if I'm wrong. I'm not the best at geography. You will get life in prison if a physician performs a abortion on a patient that is willing and wants the abortion. And then in many other states, it's up to 15 years to 2 years. So again, you're taking away reproductive health care from the client, the woman, and you're also making it very, very hard for them to get the necessary care that they desperately need from physicians, because the physicians also have to think about their own life and what they are willing to do. Okay, so these are some of the implications of this bill. So one conclusion that can be drawn is that if women are given the right to abortion, it can be seen as more murder, depending on your worldview and how far along they are. Assisted reproduction, such as IVF, can be seen as unnatural and is not available to all populations because of its nature and availability for those in low-income populations. Miscarriage management is a big one. If someone in a rural area has a miscarriage, they might not be able to get resources to prevent a miscarriage, like prenatal care, going to the doctor regularly, checkups. And if they do have a miscarriage or a stillbirth, they can be institutionalized for that as well. And I've read articles where it says that there's been an uptake since 2022. There's been 200 women that have been arrested because of stillbirths and miscarriages in the United States. So also, again, so doctors can be institutionalized for taking care of their patients. So you have to take into consideration the state that they live in, the people that they're taking care of, and what they are willing to do. And also in rural areas, it's very hard to go to a doctor if there's only one doctor in town and they don't cover your insurance. Your insurance is covered. So then we move on to the women that do not have any health insurance. They don't have insurance. So what are they supposed to do? And then there's other women that do not have the access to higher quality health services because of their economic status. So let's say that they do have insurance, but they have state insurance and they live in a rural part of town and there's only one doctor's office. What are they supposed to do when the doctor's office doesn't take it isn't giving them the proper resources that they need? So these are some of the implications of this bill. Okay, so moving on to why this is important. Well, mainly access to healthcare and resources is a universal human right and should never be taken away from anyone. No one else should be able to say what anyone can do with their body. women should be able to advocate for themselves and make their own decisions about their own bodies. Women are being institutionalized because of their limited access to reproductive care. And it is astounding that because of the choices that they make with their own bodies, that they can be criminally institutionalized for this. Not only is abortion illegal, but in some states, doctors can refuse to give their patients birth control. They can, in some states, they can refuse birth control. They can refuse abortion. They can refuse sterilization, hormone therapy, and HPV vaccines, even if the patient is wanting them. Of course, they can go to a different doctor, but if their insurance only covers a couple of doctors and they all say the same thing, then what are they supposed to do? Yeah, it's very, very important, especially for social workers, with us working in vulnerable populations. Why is this important? Part two? Reproductive health care is more than abortions. There are many other resources that women need from these clinics. For example, they do STD testing. They can do rape kits. They can do so many more things. They can do birth control for free. There's so many more things that they can do. They do ultrasound, so many different things that these women might not be able to have access to because of their economic status, or they only have a certain insurance that it covers. Medicaid is required to cover the costs of the procedure, but in many states, medical reasoning is needed. So you need a medical reason to get an abortion and it to be covered by Medicaid. And the cost of the procedure alone is upwards of $500 if you do not have insurance. And birth control can be up to $150 a month, which is another reason why birth control is so important for low-income populations. And the state-funded health clinics are so, so, so important. So some of the goals for the future. Every state has access to reproductive health care. No laws over what someone can do with their bodies. Point blank. No one should be able to say you can't do this or you can do that. It is your body. You should be able to do whatever you want with it. Funding for state contraceptives and healthcare clinics increase exponentially because it's so, so, so important. Like I've been saying throughout this whole presentation, how important it is for low-income individuals, people of color, undocumented people is so, so, so important. And then we can also increase the education about how important reproductive health is, because a lot of the time people think reproductive health, oh, they just think abortion. No, that is a part of it, but it is so more crucial to that. There's so many more pieces of the puzzle that a lot of people don't understand or aren't educated about. And my conclusion is everyone should have access to safe, legal, and affordable healthcare, regardless of their economic status, sexual orientation, or immigration status. If this bill does not pass through Congress, there are going to be many negative consequences for women all across America. And if this bill does not pass, then women could go looking for somewhere else to go and get procedures done, and they could also cause harm to themselves. So it is so, so important that everyone has access to healthcare, reproductive care, contraceptives, abortion, anything that they want to have access to, they should have access to in the healthcare realm, because it is their body and they can make their own choices about it. So thank you for listening. And here are some of my resources. Okay, I hope everyone has a great day and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.